Just want to share with you guys my experience with uh, SSD versus the normal hard disk. When I had the normal hard disk, which in fact had an 8 GB dedicated NAND flash, it was an SSHD by Western Digital. And they say the company said they have put 8 GB NAND flash into the hard disk so that it will be used to what is it to decrease the system boot times, etc. As what what an SSD is supposed to do, but it was not performing up to the mark. So I decided to change that and replace it with an SSD. I bought Kingston 240 GB SSD. Till now, I've been using it for approximately 1.5 months. Until now, it was working perfectly. Earlier, very heavy softwares like Android Studio. In fact, Google Chrome was not even able to work well with more than 8 tabs. I mean, it used to hang if I open more than 8 to 10 tabs. So I used to use extensions like tab limiters. So while using Android Studio in Kingston 250 GB SSD, 240 GB SSD, it was really good. Like, I don't think I need. In fact, my laptop came only with 4 GB of RAM, and for Android Studio, my friends use minimum 8 GB RAM with the normal hard disk. I don't see actually the direct relationship between using an SSD and Android Studio, because people used to say me that for using Android Studio you need to use more RAM. But I find a technique is that when your RAM gets exhausted, the system uses its hard disk memory for doing tasks. So I have put an SSD, so it's very much fast. So you don't usually feel the difference of having a 4 GB RAM and 8 GB RAM if you do have an SSD, which is what I feel. And now I'm having almost 10 plus tabs. I mean, it's having 12 to 15 tabs open in Google Chrome, and I am using Android Studio in parallel with VirtualBox, with VNC servers, and almost all the my RAM is running. I think it has an exceeded. It's running at 90%, and my CPU is also clocking at around 90%. My hard disk everything but 90%. But the thing is that I don't feel a delay. It's super fast. It's super quick. The all responses are very much, and I'm recording this video while all the tasks are running in back behind. So I'm saying that in my experience, in my 1.5 to 2 months experience, SSD is worth each and every penny you spend. I bought this 240 GB SSD for approximately 3,600 rupees. In fact, while 4,000, 5,000, whatever it is worth for the price. And I must say that if you are constrained, because my laptop had only one port for RAM, so in fact, if I have to expand my RAM to 8 GB, I had to throw away, I mean, this 4 GB RAM. I had to use that for some other purpose that becomes useless. So if you are constrained on your number of RAM slots, I suggest you to uh, not go for a RAM upgrade, but go for an SSD upgrade, because it is worth every penny spent. All of the experience, your all experience with the computer will be increased. Uh, yes, that's all. Because an SSD is very much fast. It is having an entirely different architecture from hard disk. In hard disk, you're having a disk. It is, in fact, and its mechanism is all what makes it slower. In SSD, it's an entirely different techniques. We're having NAND flash solid state memory. It's very quick. You don't need much maintenance. Data won't get corrupted. No, mechanical failures like hard disk won't occur here. Only the thing is that it's around 4 times the cost of hard disk. I don't suggest you to buy very heavy hard disk like 512, I mean, very high capacity SSDs, because it's very much costly. Yeah, 1 TB costs you around 20,000 rupees. But I suggest you go for a small one, 240 GB, and store your files in a 2 TB external hard disk, which I do, and copy your raw files in that, and copy your softwares in SSD. If you can, copy the portable ones into hard disk, and whenever you want to use that, just copy the portable software from the hard disk to an SSD and run from it. It saves you time from installing again. So these are the tricks, and the final verdict is that SSD is very much worth for the price.